Hello and welcome to Woven Webs. Today we have a 37-year-old guy that describes himself as happily married, but he finds himself in an uncomfortable situation. His wife's 35-year-old friend hit on him and basically propositioned him when his wife was out of town. Now he's delayed telling his wife about it, and he doesn't know what to do. Snow Every Day writes in the Relationship Advice subreddit, "Do I, a 37-year-old male, tell my wife, 35-year-old woman, I think her friend went fishing? My wife and I have been married for 11 years, happily. I think my wife's awesome. And she's been friends with, we'll call her Beth, for at least the last 8 years, and they also work together. Now, Beth and I have always been on friendly terms, and she's been a regular in our lives for a long time. Now, recently, my wife was out of town for a few days, and I went to the grocery store and found Beth in one of the aisles, and we ended up chatting and shopping together for about 20 minutes, just banter. We were about to go our separate ways in the parking lot, and she asked me what I was doing later. And I said, just messing around in the garage. And she responds, if you want any company, I can drop my groceries off and swing by. And I said something like, no, I'm good, just me and the dogs, not really thinking anything of it. Keep in mind, I've been married for 11 years, happily. So, pause, and then she said, oh yeah, I forgot she's out of town. I'll see you around then. So that night, Beth sends me a couple of texts, really rather late, and she's telling me about a show she thought I'd like, and I respond, I'll check it out, thanks. About 10 minutes later, she texts again and says, what are you doing up? Now, I didn't respond, and at this point, I knew something was off. We've never texted unless there was a reason, and I doubt she forgot my wife was out of town because, number one, they're close friends. Number two, they work together, and my wife hasn't been to work in 2 days. And three, the, quote, if you want any company, unquote, statement. Well, I'm assuming she knew I'd be alone, and we've never hung out without my wife, but we're going to now while she's several states away. Was it an innocent gesture that she stepped back from when she realized it might be crossing a line? I don't know. So, fast forward to a barbecue at my house about a week ago, and Beth mostly stuck with my wife and sister-in-law all night. Anytime I was around, she went quiet and barely acknowledged me. And she left towards the end of the night and walked by me without saying a word. So that's the situation, and I'm conflicted on whether I should bring this up to my wife. If one of my friends had the same interaction with my wife while I were out of town, I'd want to know about it. On the other hand, what if I'm wrong and I cause a falling out that just doesn't need to happen? And my main argument for this is, I knew Beth's ex-husband back in the day and her two serious partners in the years since then, and she has a distinctive type of guy she's always gone for, and it definitely isn't me. Part of me wants to just push to the side and let it blow over. But what do you all think? What should I do here? Well, he seems to have himself in a situation here, and Maui Infinity 0805 responds, maybe you could broach it with your wife along the lines of, hey, I ran into Beth at the store the other day while you were out of town. We chatted for a bit, and then she offered to drop by if I needed company. Then she messaged me late that night. I don't know, it seemed a little off to me. I don't want to overthink it, though. What do you think? As opposed to saying it in an accusatory way. And Alien Lifeform 666 follows that, saying, that response would be absolutely perfect. OP, you need to tell your wife, though. Your interaction was perfectly innocent, but hiding it from her makes it look suspicious. Beth might be avoiding you because she's embarrassed, but she might also be angry at being rejected. She might try and cause trouble for you in order to get revenge. Just a thought. And Sparky1841 writes in, happily married man here, 38 years and going strong. Do this. He's referring to the previous two responses. Always work to build trust with your awesome wife. She'll want to know, and if your wife is savvy, as I think she is, she'll catch the vibes coming off her friend and your awkwardness, and she'll wonder about things. If you don't tell her, then she may suspect the exact opposite of what really happened. If it causes a rift between her and her friend, then was her friend really a friend, or is she a frenemy? And so be it, whatever happens. Super Blue Cat adds in, yeah, I would say something for sure. Personally, I picture it something like this. OP. Is Beth doing okay? Wife. I guess so. Why do you ask? OP. I ran into her the other day at the store when you were out of town, and she was a bit weird. She gave me weird vibes. Wife. How so? OP. Just weird. And then show your wife the texts. For sure, show her those text messages. And Dragon in a Hat's our last response. She writes, happily married old lady, 40 years here. Better to tell the wife and she'll figure it out from there. I personally would want to know about that, and I wouldn't blame my husband or get mad at him. Now, isn't this just the way life is every now and then? A man is shopping for groceries on his own on a Saturday afternoon, looking forward to going home and hanging out with his dogs, and then this is dropped in his lap through absolutely no fault of his own. And this guy's a married guy. Clearly he's been happily married for a long time because he doesn't even realize what's going on. He had to shift gears to see, oh, this woman's out of bounds. She's essentially propositioning me, which, in my opinion, she was. And while you did that right, OP, you should have told your wife immediately when she got home. But you didn't. You should have just tell her how you felt, what happened, showed her the text, and left it. But it's still manageable. Just tell her, but you have to tell her and do it today. Tell your wife about this. Trust me. But what do you all think? Let us know in the comments, and I appreciate you listening.